are you okay with being the side guy? And I say that because I don't want her to break up with him. I love her and
Interesting.
but I
Interesting.
also love y'all too as well. And I know this is crazy. And I know
Yeah.
that, oh, we don't cheat and all these type of things. But in a perfect world, y'all three being together,
Can work it out. We can
it
work it out.
really work.
Listen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Keith, editor-in-chief of the Quintessential Gentleman. And today we are talking to Mr. David Gyasi. What's going on, my brother? How are you?
It's all good, man. It's all really good. It's all really
How
good.
are you feeling?
I feel good. Um, I was just saying to a friend of mine, it's a busy time for me right now, especially, when you're on these streamers,
Yeah,
because everything hits all at once.
yeah,
There's just a lot of people
yeah.
that need your time. Um, Not to mention, wife, children, friends, all of that. But you guys, I'm also filming as well. But I feel like for the first time in a long time, I'm able to just take that section, look at it now, be present with you, and then the next thing, just take that and do that. And I have to like big up my team around me for that as well. That's really helping. So I'm feeling good.
Good, good. And how are you like kind of managing your mental health? Is that, I always want to ask that because I feel
Mm.
like we need to be more intentional about handling our self-care
Yeah,
and mental health.
yeah, yeah. What a great question, man. Like we're going in. We've got 20 minutes and we're going in, and I like this, Eric. Um, so I meet up with a group of guys on a Monday and a Friday, and we do life, man. We're just very real, and we just talk about what's happening for us, all the ins and outs of career, the ins and outs of family, the ins and out of friendship, and that really helps. My wife sent me something about Mo Salah. I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm a big Liverpool fan. She sent me a video. There's lots of videos about Mo Salah at the moment that feel like they're posthumous videos. And I'm like, everyone just calm down. Yeah, I know he hasn't signed a new contract. Let's just hold on a minute. But he was saying the interviewer was asking him how he maintains this level and so consistently. And he said, yeah, I'm in the gym every day. I eat the right things. But harder than that is the 15 minutes when I wake up to be by myself, just to have that time. And the guy's like, what do you think about? What thoughts? And he's like, what doesn't come? But he's like, to him, to then arrive in the world without hearing from his source and hearing what's happening in here and having all of, because if my schedule's like that at the moment, his must be times 100, to have all of these things coming in and not having centered himself. He said that's the hardest thing, but it makes everything else feel so easy. Um, so yeah, that stuck with me. My 15 minutes is like make my way downstairs, find the coffee machine, put that on. Yeah, but it's a work in progress, Eric. What do you want me to
Exactly.
tell you, man? It's a work in
Exactly.
progress.
I wonder how has life changed
Mm,
since season one going into season two. I was going into season two, right? Like it's a massive show. It hits so many people, given Netflix's platform.
mm,
And it's phenomenal. I mean, we'll get into it, but
mm.
phenomenal. I want to know, how has life changed for you? Or has it? If I want to put
That's
that on you.
it's such a yeah. So I'm interested to know before I answer how you think it might have changed for me.
I think you spoke a little bit about the attention that's required for you from you now, which I
Hmm.
don't know if that was what it was before that.
Hmm.
Um, I think that to your point about Netflix in the space, there's two caveats, right? I think it's one all in one time, where you all get, all the episodes as opposed to other
Hmm.
shows where, you're kind of living with people a little longer. But I feel like you
Hmm.
get new people so quickly when they do jump on because they're able to automatically within a couple days become a fan or not, if this is for them, right? If they binge watch it. So I would just think that the attention from you or that you would be more, in my opinion, just from an outside
Mm.
perspective.
Mm. Yeah, perception is interesting one.
Mhm.
Um, and some of that tallies up, right? Um, I think for me, where I nearly said where I learned my craft, I'm still learning every day. I'm still figuring stuff out, right? But I feel as though I'm in the camp, that type of artist, like a potter or a sculptor or a fine artist, where when you finish the work, it ceases to be yours. That's a bit of a defense mechanism as well. Because if it comes out and it's no good, I'm like, well, it's not mine anymore, man. It belongs to you.
Yeah.
That's between you and your gaze, right? So I've always operated that way. And so much so that when I did my first film, I remember the red carpet, and I was like, no, I'm not going anywhere near that. So I went in the cinema in the side door, and my older sister told me off. She was like, "Do you understand why you're in this place?
Mhm.
You're one of the only black people in this film, and you're going through the side door. Like that's part of your job." So with the Diplomat, what's interesting to me is the notes I get, or the letters I get, or the people that see me in the street and go, "Thank you for showing me or representing me or representing us." That's a lot, or the young the young lady who said her 13-year-old son loves watching you in the Diplomat, um, because that means something to him. And then I'm reminded of the 7-year-old me that used to look at the TV and think, oh, this world is crazy and incredible. And they get to do all these fun stuff. Where where am I in this? Oh, I'm a fringe player.
Mhm.
So then a job like the Diplomat comes along and says, can you be part of it? Can you be part of the storytelling, the actual storytelling, not just the person that comes in and delivers the news or exposition? Can you be part of that? So, in answer to your question, and then I go into a little bit of my experience. It's changed in that connection with the outside world a little bit. Like I've been able to be an artist who's I've been on trains before where people are like, someone's phoned and said, "Oh, that white heat that's on, make sure you record it." And I'm literally opposite them, and they don't know that I'm in it. It's been fantastic. The wigs or whatever. Denison's probably the person that looks the most like me of all the parts that I've played.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a difference. Certainly getting called out a bit more in the street that way, but also going on this journey with Denison. This is the first time I've gone into a third season of something. And usually it's either film or a sort of standalone limited series. So you get to see the beginning, the middle, and the end on the page. What I found in the second season was a bit of a sadness come over me because I felt like, remember I said about him being in the center of the story, and I felt like he was becoming more silent and a bit quieter. And I'd sort of sit with that in my sort of Mo Salah type silence, sit with that and think about what that means. And then I'd think about people and pioneers like there's an election that happened in your country not too long ago, and if you were to scratch off the names on those CVs, and you would just and the sex and the race, and you were just to put those two CVs on a table, and the felonies on a table, and what their history is,
Yeah.
I'm not sure there would be that much of a competition. Now, when you realize that and then have to step in a room, and Dennison makes some decisions where in season 2, where he's like, if I put my head above the pulpit, I'm gone. Whether merited or not, I'm gone. And then what happens? And then who's running this country? And so sitting in that space of having to toe the line was really like, I've described it in the press as like having this silent scream
Mm.
underneath him, that when he steps on set, there's this bubbling thing, and he's not quite a yes master, but he is a little bit like, okay, we'll do that.
If I will say this, if we
Mm.
had 8 episodes, maybe you'd be more on a swing. Just want to throw that out there. When I went, and mind you, I don't even realize, I think you get into it, you're going and you just
Yeah.
episode, next episode, next episode.
Yep.
And then you realize at some point, wait, there's only 6, there's not 8. This.
Yeah.
But I want to know, when reading the script,
Mm.
what are, like, how do you feel? Because you read it, and I know this is the moment, clearly we see it when it comes to fruition, but you have a
Mm.
moment when you reading these various things that are happening. And I will mention 2 of them. Again,
Mm-hmm.
everyone saw it. There are spoilers. Turn away if you don't want to listen.
Yeah.
Um,
Tune it down. Yeah.
right. Um, the time when you're about the BPM, potential
Mm.
PM. And
Mm.
then the finale cliffhanger, when now it seems like a lot of stuff is about to start happening on American territory, with the vice president now become a president, and that storyline and what that looks like. What did you feel when reading that on the script?
Before I did season 1, I had lunch with our now Foreign Secretary David Lammy,
Okay.
and I remember seeing him, and I was like, he was like, "How you doing?" I was like, "Good." I was like, "How are you?" He said, "Yeah, pretty good." I was like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." Like, he's, "Why do you ask?" I said, "With what's happened this week." And he went, yeah," he said, "You'll have to remind me what's happened this week." And I thought, dude, you're the shadow foreign secretary. If you don't know what's happened in the press this week regarding your job and this and I don't know if it's the expense scandals or whatever. And he said to me, "Oh, David, that's just noise. If I was to tell you what I'm actually dealing with,"
Mm.
and I thought, hmm. And then he said something like, and I said, "So you're going to be the next foreign secretary?" That's, he said, "Politics. Like, you come in this morning and something's happening." He said, "I've been in this game so long that by this afternoon that could change." So when I read that bit in the script, I thought, hang on a minute. Dennison is more experienced and more in the know to know that this might not happen. Don't forget, he is a person of color in the Tory party. Like, there are people that will come alongside him and absolutely work with him. There are people that also may not align with, may not, sorry, I tell stories, but they do make sense. I remember once being asked to, I remember being asked to play Othello. And I've never been interested in playing Othello, because when I read it as a young man, I'm like, why is this guy just falling for this? Why doesn't he just check with his lady? Why doesn't it? Why is he's just being manipulated? I didn't like it. And the director who took me to dinner said, "I hear you, but what if who's the guy? Othello. Who's the guy that is up that everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's who the guy that manipulates him, his best friend. Do you know that? Can you remember the name? So there's the guy who it will come to me, and
Mhm.
there'll be people watching this guy. Yeah.
Right.
Um,
And both yelling at both of
so
us for not knowing.
yeah. So she said, but what if he represents the people that are so used to having this position of power that don't like the fact that someone, an other, a foreigner, is coming in and playing this part? What if we're looking at that? And at the time, Obama was in power and not getting anything passed. Whatever he was suggesting was just not getting passed. For whatever reason, it wasn't getting passed. So I say that to say, when I read that in the script, I thought, if this guy is as experienced and in the know as we have made him out to be, and we think he is, I don't know that he runs with this until it actually happens. So there is a moment where Kate, who is his only real confidant, where he lets it sort of slip in his face. There's a little bit of a smile. But other than that, he's prepared. It's, you see Kamala afterwards, her speech afterwards, the grace, the poise, it's, you go into something like that, and I would imagine all your efforts are towards the result that you want. But there's an inkling on how does this go if not. So when he read that, when I read that, um, I thought, oh, where are we going? How does this work? But I also remembered that conversation with David Lemmy.
No, that's good. And to talk about Kate, it's first and foremost,
Mm.
it's like, are you okay with being the side guy? And I say that because I don't want her to break up with him. I love her and
Interesting.
but I
Interesting.
also love y'all too as well. And I know this is crazy. And I know
Yeah.
that, oh, we don't cheat and all these type of things. But in a perfect world, y'all three being together
Can work it out. We can
can
work it out.
really work. And I think to your point about being silent this season,
Mm,
I think there was so much going on that
mm,
you guys couldn't, there's no space and time for you all to do a little bit more because it was literally chaos ensued, which
yeah.
I mean, the role that you guys have, what you do, as being these diplomats, being all of these positions, it's always things going on. But at least in first season, we can see you guys, getting your
Mm,
time in. There was
mm,
none of that season two. There was none of
mm,
that. Or,
mm.
get the reasons. But would you want, in your opinion, David, season three, how would you like your character to evolve?
Mm. So the explosion happens end of season one, and it's like all of the elements go, but they're in different segments. I don't think they disintegrate. I think they're in. So there's like, who done it? Bang. Was it Trowbridge? Bang. Where's Hal and Kate at? Bang, bang. Where's Kate and Dennison at? Bang, bang. I don't think these things disintegrate. So I think what happens is there's all of this other stuff to sort out. And Kate and Dennison just go, we can't look at that. But the problem as human beings is when we say we can't look at that, it's there and it's underneath and it festers and it embodies and infuses and colors everything that you say or do with that person. But you're just suppressing it, suppressing it, suppressing it. I think in terms of being the side chick, for him, and this again was something with David Lammy. Look, I've said this before. I say it again. If President Obama had the same CV as Donald Trump, he doesn't become
Right.
the 44th president of the United States. That doesn't happen. For Dennison, for Kate to have a fling, how does that affect her? For Dennison to have a fling, if it comes out, He's one of one. There's no one coming up underneath him. So the stakes are so high for him. So I think for him, it's about working out, hey, what does this actually mean for you? And what does it mean for me? I don't think he's about to cross that line, but to scratch somebody's itch. I don't think he's about that. Do you know what I mean? Um, the last part of your question, how would I like to see season two, that quietness, this internal scream that he has, this furnace inside him. I'd love to see some of that. And do you know that might come out in him going, excuse my French, F it. Kate, this is how, and however that goes. It might come out in him in a board meeting going, F it. What the heck are you talking about? Can't you see that this affects this amount of people by raising that and investing in oil? Can you not see what's happening in Spain? What are you all talking about? Do you know what I mean? I'd love to see some of that, but then that might sort of end the show early. Take away the drama.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at the time. I just have two
Yes.
more questions.
Okay, go.
One question I have is, first of all, do you get to keep the suits? Are they they're made just for you. I'm jealous because when you walk onto the screen, always
Yeah.
proper. It is, I mean, and it's so, and I think it's intentional, right? You walk in
Mm-hmm.
with a power that you wield. And although you're not the prime minister, you're like
Mm-hmm.
number two and you get
Mm-hmm.
shit done, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to know from a styling perspective, like how does
Yeah.
it work? Is it just they dress you, you just do whatever they tell you, you kind of put some insight in it? Do you get to keep the clothes? All of those things.
Yeah, so it is twofold. My dad he only taught us how to tie a Windsor knot, which is the
Okay.
triangular knot. And the school that I went to, I remember when I was in the first year, a teacher came along and was sending people to lunch early in the lunch queue. He sent all the boys with a Windsor knot early to lunch. And my dad, being an immigrant to this country, was very much a subscriber of dress how you want to be addressed, you know? And so that became a bit of a feature for me and for Denison, is that it's kind of an ode to the CVs. You have to work that much harder. You have to present yourself in this way and be on top of all of these things. It's why the affair just doesn't just happen. It's all of these things are tied into that. And so we talk, we speak about that, and that comes through, and the costume designers are incredible. um, you would have to ask them about how much tailoring they have to do. It depends how long I've had off and how and when we come back to season. If we come back after Thanksgiving or Christmas Day, there may be some tailoring that needs
Right.
to happen, and it depends what I do in between as well. But yeah, I'm quite fortunate in that the frame that my parents handed down to me seems to be sample size. So it kind of works. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. And my last question, I just wanted to get your thoughts.
Mm,
We recently lost an icon, Quincy Jones. And
mm,
on your Instagram post, you spoke about his influence, and you said there are certain individuals that have affected the way I even stand as a human. And I want to know, what did Quincy mean to you?
mm. Yeah, I wrote that because I hadn't spent much time working that out, and rather sadly, but also quite beautifully.
Mhm.
I grew up in various different areas, but where I spent my teenage years was in a majority white school, white area. So the school discos would have certain songs on, maybe songs that, yeah, Sweet Caroline, all of that sort of stuff. And then every so often a song would come on, usually by either Bob Marley or Quincy Jones. and um, that would break through, that would transcend. This music is just for you, or this music is just for you. Um, I feel that Quincy and Motown and these movements, and going into Spike Lee and the black exploitation movies. This, as a kid out there in the suburbs, switching on my TV or putting on the radio or having, it can be hard to understand now, but music, videos, content wasn't so readily available. So when you got pieces of that hit your soul, um, validation and excellence, because that level of craft, of artistry, of creativity, it helps that 7-year-old boy go, oh, I can be part of this. I can be part of this, and I can strive, and I can thrive in this world, in whatever industry I want to go in. And he may just be making beats, he may just be making melodies, but that's what it's doing to a generation of people. So I think that's what I mean. Like, at the time, you don't really know it. You're just doing a little two-step in the corner. Do you know what I mean? Thinking, yeah. But actually, thank God for the two-step.
Awesome. No, definitely an icon. Definitely has a
Yeah.
legacy. Mr. David, thank you so much for taking the time. This was amazing. And also, you engaged with our platform. I appreciate you so much, just for supporting,
Mm.
and all that good stuff. And I just can't wait to see you season three. What else do you have going? Is there anything else going on that we can look forward to seeing you in? You able to talk?
Yeah.
This hush hush world. We can't know nothing to.
Yeah, so there's nothing locked in at the moment, and that's to do with availability. There's some really exciting things that I'm looking at.
Okay.
There's some really exciting things that my wife and I are producing.
Okay.
Um, there's a great documentary that we're producing at the moment, which is really a celebration of black boys in private schools, in the sort of top elite schools in this country. Um, which I'm really excited about. There's some narrative drama that we're looking at as well. A couple feature films that, you know, but it's just, again, busy, busy, busy. We'll just take that bit and we'll focus on that right now, and then we'll move to the next. But there's some really beautiful and uplifting conversations, which, God willing, will turn into projects that we will meet again and speak about. And you'll say to me, was this one of those projects? I'll be like, yeah, that's
Exactly.
exactly right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep us posted. We'll love to support, share with the audience, all of that. And I love documentaries, so this will be right up my alley.
We'll let you know. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you
Appreciate you,
so
man.
much, David. Talk
Yeah.
soon.